Hello everybody and welcome back to another video. Now in today's video, as you can see by the wonderful setup that we have here on my desk today, we're going to be doing another project involving the famous $5 Windows 98 PC. It's a PC that we haven't taken a look at on this channel in probably about a month, a little over or a little under a month. But I'm finally bringing it back today. I'm really happy because today's video I think is going to be a lot of fun. This is going to be a bit of a follow-up to a project that I did on this computer, and it was essentially where we started at Windows 1.0 and tried to upgrade our way to the latest release of Windows, which in this case the latest version of Windows that can run on this thing is Windows 7. So that's what we did in that video, and there was a comment posted on that video by Hugo, and it's actually the top comment right now with 330 likes, and it basically says do the same thing but with the Windows NT version. So start with Windows NT 3.1 and upgrade your way through NT 3.5, 3.51, 4.0, 2000, and then of course XP, Vista, and 7. 7 once again being the latest version of Windows based on NT. That can actually run on this thing, and that is exactly what we're going to be doing today. So a huge thanks to Hugo for posting that comment, a huge thanks to all of you guys for liking that comment and bringing it to the top of the video. And to any of you guys who also suggested this that I just did not see your comments, because like I said, this one was the top comment on that video, thank you to you as well, as I'm sure there were some of you guys who also wanted me to do this video, and that's exactly what we're doing today. So this computer right now is running Windows 98. I actually did a clean install for the Windows 98 development history video to kind of capture a little bit of B-roll footage. So we're going to be starting out with Windows NT 3.1, which is again the first release of Windows NT. Just to show you what I've got here at the moment, we have a couple CDs and floppy diskettes. You can see, yep, we got a decent amount because the first couple versions of NT do actually require a boot floppy, as well as actually copying some files over from the floppy disks before you actually insert the CD. So let's begin, shall we? Here we are booted up into the Windows NT 3.1 setup process, or at least the first phase of it. Okay, so setup is letting us know that it did not find any SCSI adapters, which we don't have any, so we're going to press enter, and it's going to, so these are the this is the screen where we can configure the configuration. So this is the screen where we are able to customize our installation a little bit by selecting what kind of computer we have, what display we have, mouse, keyboard, and keyboard layout. All this looks pretty good for my case, so we're going to go ahead and press enter on the above list matches my computer. And now it's going to say that, oh, so it actually requires a CD-ROM drive connected to a SCSI adapter recognized by Windows NT. So yeah, this is going to be a problem because we don't have, there is no SCSI adapter on this system. There's no, like, the CD drive and the hard drive both are IDE, so it's literally not even going to allow us to continue. It just says if you have a CD-ROM drive, make sure it's powered on and connected to your computer when you restart it. We have one, but it's not a SCSI CD-ROM, and I guess it requires a SCSI CD-ROM. So we've encountered our first problem, ladies and gentlemen. That definitely did not take long, but luckily for us, we do have Windows NT 3.5, and I know we were able to install 3.51 on this without any issues because I did it in another video. So worst case scenario, we'll have to start with 3.51, but we'll see if we can start with 3.5 and then upgrade to 3.51. So I'm going to go ahead and pop in the very first floppy disk for Windows NT 3.5. There are 3 of them as opposed to just the one. So we're going to go ahead and do that. Hopefully this will not be an indication as to how this video is going to go. I'm hoping we can get this one installed, or like I said, 3.51. Oh, and it's also important to note that we are going to be installing the Workstation edition of Windows NT. Windows NT 3.1 didn't come in a Workstation release. It was just called Windows NT, and then you had Windows NT Advanced Server. In 3.5 they actually kind of renamed those, so you have now NT Workstation and NT Server, and we're going to continue using the Workstation SKU for the rest of this video. We're going to do that with NT 3.51 and Windows NT 4.0, and then in 2000 we're going to upgrade to the Professional Edition and then continue on with the Professional and then in the case of Windows Vista, the business copy of Windows Vista for the rest of this video. So you see this time it actually found an IDE CD-ROM, which is again what we have, so that's good. Alright, so we actually get another error message right here, as you can see, where it says setup is unable to locate the hard drive partition prepared by the MS-DOS portion of setup. When you run the MS-DOS Windows NT setup program, you must specify a temporary drive that is supported by Windows NT. See your setup guide for more information. I believe I know the solution for this, and it actually does require us booting off of an MS-DOS boot disk. I've got one for Windows 95 that I'm putting in the drive right now, and we're going to press F3 to restart and enter. Now, I actually went ahead and formatted the partition that's already on the C drive. So if I show you here, if I run fdisk, I do have a primary DOS partition that is formatted. Like I said, I did format it off camera, so here it is right here. Now the reason we have to do this is because these earlier versions of NT don't actually format your hard drive partition as an ntfs partition. Like in later versions, like in Windows XP, for example, when you go through the setup process, you can choose to format the partition as an ntfs partition, using the ntfs file system. Here in these earlier versions of NT, that's not the case. It actually will, it needs a FAT partition, it copies all the files over to the FAT partition, and then on a reboot, it actually converts the file system to NTFS. So for whatever reason, the setup, booting off of the floppy disk did not actually detect the partition that is on the drive. So what I believe we can do is actually go to the CD here, and let's do a directory listing, and there should be an i386 folder. Yep, so we will do cd i386, and we can view the files in here. That was kind of pointless because the file that we're looking for is winnt, so we're going to run winnt and use the /b switch. And this should launch us into setup, so it's going to say, okay, where are the NT files located? Windows has disabled direct disk access to protect your long file names. To override this protection, cd lock / command. System has been halted. So we will restart the system. That's kind of interesting because, like I said, I did format this off camera, and Windows 98 does support long file names. So that could have something to do with it, but like I said, this partition has been formatted already, so we are going to, we're just going to do what it says. We're going to check out that lock command. So let's go into R and cd i386, and let's lock / locks a drive enabling direct disk access. Okay, so lock C. The lock command enables direct disk access by programs that can corrupt file names and/or destroy disk data, resulting in loss of files on your disk. Are you sure? Yes, I am sure. Locking operation failed. Okay, so that time it worked. So let's just run winnt/b once again, and let's see if we can go through the setup this time. So that's where the files are located. There we go. Please wait while setup copies files to your hard disk. So problem averted. Looks like Windows NT 3.5 is moving right along. So that is pretty awesome. So yeah, it turns out we don't even need the 3 floppy disks. So that's pretty awesome. All right, well, good news, everyone. The MS-DOS based portion of setup is complete. We have removed the 95 boot disk from the floppy disk drive. We're going to restart the system. And so this is what we saw before booting off of the floppy disks, although it's much faster now, as you just saw. So we're loading up here. Now we should get the same thing, like, okay, do you want to do the express or custom setup? But yeah, it's just not actually booting off the floppy disks this time. It's booting off of the hard disk because all the files were copied over. So we'll press enter, we'll go with express setup, it's found the CD-ROM, press enter, and here we go. So this is where we get our list of partitions. We have our one FAT partition. We're going to go ahead and install it on that, and we are going to actually convert the partition to NTFS. So we will press enter to do that, and we will press C to convert the drive to NTFS. So one thing I am going to do, I'm not really sure if this matters at this point, but later versions of Windows are going to use the winnt folder and eventually the Windows folder to actually store all the files. So I'm going to actually just call this winnt and just kind of drop the 3.5 suffix there. So we'll install it to the C winnt folder, because again, we are going to do some upgrades, and the idea is to keep everything in the same folder. And yes, as you could probably tell, that was very, very fast, and that is because, well, it's for a couple of reasons. We weren't loading the setup off of the floppy disk, And this computer is much newer than, I mean, because this OS came out in the early to mid 90s, and this computer is from the year 2000, so it's a much faster computer than what this OS was intended to run on. And this actually right here, I know exactly how we have to fix this. We get this error message that says setup cannot install on the current processor, cannot proceed with install. We have to actually install a patch, so let me go ahead and grab those files right now. Alright, so we're back, and yes, there is actually a CPU patch that if you're using a processor newer than a Pentium 2, or I think a Pentium 2 and newer, you have to actually install a patch. Which I got on this floppy diskette right here. And before we do this, though, I want to give a huge thank you to Frank, who is a viewer that actually got in contact with me after seeing actually the last video that I did, where I did the Windows 1.0 to Windows 7 upgrade on this computer. And I mentioned in that video that I was running low on floppy diskettes, and he offered to send me a couple of cases of them. And this is actually a brand new, I mean, all these diskettes in here are actually wrapped in this little, covering here, which is pretty awesome. They are new. So yeah, Frank, thank you for sending these out to me. They are going to be a big help, as you can see already. I just used one of them. And yeah, if you guys are like kind of confused when I said that, because then I made the video saying I have a lot of floppy disks, and yes, I have a lot of floppy disks, but I was running low on blank ones, which is what Frank offered to send me, because blank ones, I mean, I actually had to reuse some of the blank ones that I already had written stuff to for this video, and I obviously didn't want to overwrite any of the software on like the Microsoft Windows diskettes and all that, software that was actually purchased and came with software on it. But yeah, thanks to Frank, I'm not low on blank diskettes anymore. So we're going to go ahead and pop in this diskette. And we're going to actually retry here, reading from the A drive. So we got these 3 files on here. One of them is a README. Essentially, it's readthis.txt. We can't open it up in MS-DOS edit because, well, edit is not on this A drive anymore, and it's not loaded into memory. So what we have to do is actually copy. We're just going to copy everything. So star.star to C, WinNT, and then system32. And we're going to press enter to copy those files. And it's going to ask us to overwrite. We're going to say A for all. And yes, these are essentially patched files that will allow us to, on a reboot here, get past that error message where it said that Windows NT cannot be installed on this processor. So, but yeah, huge thanks to Frank once again. He actually sent 3 boxes of this size for me to use, which is pretty awesome. So now we actually get a different error message saying the system is not fully installed. Please run setup again. So yeah, we have to actually copy these files before it loads back into setup, because then, like, the fact that we quit out of setup and then copy the files, it now thinks there's an incomplete installation of Windows NT on the hard drive. So it looks like we're going to have to go through that whole setup process again. There we go, everyone. We got it. So yes, actually copying the files over before the system rebooted into the setup is exactly what we need to do. So we're going to go ahead and put in our name here. I'm going to put in the name as Michael. Let's do the company as YouTube this time. Why not? Press continue, and this stuff should hopefully stay again as we upgrade through the other releases of Windows NT. All this stuff should stay. So for the computer name, yeah, even though this is Windows NT on this thing, we're still going to call it 98 PC. And printer we're not going to install, so we're going to I believe if we just choose cancel. No local printer has been set up. Okay. Preparing network card choices. We have a network card, but yeah, it's not going to be able to detect it, so we'll just say continue. Said it did not detect the network card. Okay. And no network. Yes. And there we go. It is continuing to copy the files that it needs to copy. And there we've got the familiar program manager. We're not going to set a password. We'll just press continue. Username. Let's make the username. Let's just do Michael, and we're not going to put a password for it. And oh yeah, the date and time is set back to March of 1997 because I was installing the Memphis beta builds on this thing, and I think one of them had me actually set the BIOS date back to that date. So we're going to just keep it at that for now. The time is not 1:45 p.m. either, but we'll just go with it. And it has detected VGA compatible display adapter. That's perfect. We will just leave it in 16 colors. I think that's all we're going to get. Yep, so we will press OK. It's going to save the configuration. And we're not going to create a emergency disk. We don't need it. And we're going to restart the system. And now we should boot up into a freshly installed copy of Windows NT 3.5. Alright, so a couple things have happened. It obviously restarted, it also converted the file system to NTFS, and we logged in here to Windows NT 3.5. So we've got the familiar Program Manager. We can go to Help and About here, and obviously it's the Windows NT Program Manager version 3.5. We are going to, once again, you probably guessed it, we're going to make some visual modifications to the theme to see if they last throughout the upgrade. So we're going to go into the Control panel, into the Color panel here, and we're going to modify this to our liking. So let's make it look not so terrible this time. Let's go with, for the title bar, I don't know, let's go with like a purple maybe. That might look pretty cool. We'll do purple and a white text. The inactive title bar, yeah, I think yellow for the inactive would be good. Highlighted, let's change that to a little bit of a darker green. Let's go up about that. For the button, let's go with, well, for the text, we'll just keep it black. The button highlights, let's make that, let's go with a darker blue maybe. Window background, let's make that, let's maybe make it gray, and let's do the same for the application workspace. We'll make it gray as well. So I think that looks, I mean, yeah, we'll change the desktop color. Let's make that orange. So yeah, there we go. I think it actually looks kind of nice. So yes, these will be the custom color settings that we have applied, and hopefully they will last throughout the upgrade. So we're going to go ahead and move right along to Windows NT 3.51. Yes, we're going from 3.5 to 3.51. Okay, you can upgrade, this is exactly what we want. You can upgrade NT 3.5 systems to Windows NT 3.5 Server. You cannot upgrade the computer to be a primary or backup domain controller. Well, this isn't NT 3.5 server, this is regular NT. I mean, at least that's what the ISO file said. You should not install in the directory that contains NT 3.5 unless you are upgrading. That is, Windows NT setup might indicate that it has found a version of Windows NT on C1NT, for example, and offer to upgrade the installation. Okay, so we just have to boot off of the floppy disk. And yes, this is obviously going to be more of a minor upgrade. It's not going to be like going from NT 3.51 to NT 4.0 where we're going to get like a whole new interface. 3.51 visually is very similar to 3.5. And we also, in the video where I installed, because this is the version that we installed on this computer has run 3.51 before. We also took a look at New Shell in that video, which is essentially the Windows Explorer preview for Windows NT 3.51, which was pretty awesome. If you guys, again, want to check that video out, I'll probably have it linked down below. I think I've already put the card up here in the video, which I'm not going to be able to do again, because you can only put one video in one card for like each time that you do it. Like, I just can't make multiple cards for the same video. If it does exactly what the README says, we should just get an option and it says, okay, we found NT 3.5. It should allow us to just upgrade it. Okay, so it's asking us, it's obviously found that we have a CD-ROM drive, and it's going to ask us, do you want to install NT from the CD-ROM or from 3.5-inch discs? We have the CD-ROM version, so we're going to press enter. It has not said anything about the existing install yet, so well, right now it's loading the, yep, here we go, right here. So setup is found in Windows NT on your hard disk in the directory shown below. Windows NT Workstation version 3.5. Setup recommends upgrading this Windows NT installation to Microsoft Windows NT version 3.51. It'll obviously preserve the user account, security information, user preferences, and other configuration information. Perfect. So we're going to press enter to upgrade Windows NT in the directory shown above. And it looks like we're off to the races. Checking drive C. And yep, there we go. Setup is copying files. So awesome. Yeah, so we ran into a little bit of a hiccup. I mean, so far, let's just kind of review how we've done. So NT 3.1 we weren't able to install because it didn't have the support for the IDE CD-ROM drive, which is what we have. It did not allow us to install it. We then moved on to 3.5. We ran into a little bit of issues with actually booting off of the floppy disks, which I was able to fix by booting off the 95 boot diskette and doing what we did there. And then I had to patch some of the files for it to actually finish the setup properly. And Windows NT 3.51 has so far been a breeze. I don't want to jinx myself, but I mean, I did install this on this computer before and it worked perfectly fine, so I don't see any reason why we'll run into any issues this time. So hopefully this trend will continue for NT 4.0. And obviously then 2000 XP Vista and then finally Windows 7. So we still have a little bit of ways to go. We're kind of in the early stages of this experiment, and that is actually all of the floppy disks that we're going to have to use for this video, because NT 4.0 comes on a bootable CD, and obviously all the other versions above that do as well. So Windows 2000, XP, Vista, and 7 all have just, they don't obviously boot off of a floppy diskette first, which is awesome. So we are done with floppy diskettes for this video. So it does have just one more phase of setup to go through. It looks like since we entered all of our user information in the previous version of Windows, during that setup process, you see it didn't ask me for my name or company or all that stuff. We're going to not create an emergency repair disk, and we're going to restart the system. And so here we are, guys, in the Program Manager for, let me show you here once again, Windows NT 3.51. It's kept all of our user set preferences with the colors and all of that. Now, unfortunately, Windows NT 3.5, which we installed, did not include Reversi. So you see 3.51 here comes with Solitaire, Minesweeper, and Free Cell. I was hoping we were going to be able to have like an older game that we could keep kind of throughout this video. Just like we did. I mean, because pretty much one of the big things we tried to do in the original video, if you haven't seen it, is we tried to run Reversi. Every single OS upgrade, we tried to run Reversi, and it unfortunately wasn't very successful for us. But so we got Solitaire, Minesweeper, and Free Cell, which there is a newer version of all three of these in like 2000 and Windows XP, so these will get overridden. But I want to actually create some documents, so we will go into, let's go into accessories here. Let's launch Paintbrush and let us create some art like we did in the previous video. So we'll just draw some squares here. Let's just, write MJD. Let's go to the, let's write world. There we go. That's awesome. Okay, so we'll save that. And we're going to save this to just the root of the C drive as... let's just say win nt 351.bmt. We'll close out of that. Let's go into Notepad. And what I'm going to do is actually, let's start a bit of a log here. And we'll just say, so the first version, this is, hello, I am starting this text document on Windows NT 3.51. Exclamation point. And like every time, if I remember, hopefully we'll come into this text document every single OS install after this and just kind of add like a line. So we'll start out with 3.51, and then once we install 4.0 we will add to it. So we'll close this. Yes, we're going to save changes, and we're going to save this to the C drive as upgrade_log, and there we go. So now if we go into the file manager, root of the C drive, we've got our upgrade log and our BMP file. So I think that's really all. I'm trying to think of some other stuff we can do. Let's maybe open up some programs. One of the things we were able to do in the old video, the original video, is I opened up the clock in 95, had it placed at the bottom of the screen. And then when I upgraded to 98 and reopened the clock program, it was in the exact same spot. So we'll do that. We'll have the clock at the bottom left. We can open up card file. This was a program in the original version of Windows, like Windows 1.0 had a card file program. This is obviously not that version. So let's just actually type out hello, and we'll just save this as. We'll save it to, once again, the root of the C drive as hello.crd. So I think that's probably enough for NT 3.51. Let's move on to 4.0, which I've got on this CD right here. And yeah, Windows NT 4.0, it has been a while since we've taken a look at this on the channel. I think the only video I did with NT4 was a tutorial back in probably 2014, maybe even earlier than that, 2013, 2014. It's been a while since we've taken a look at NT 4.0. I've never done, as far as I know at least, I don't think I've done like a video on like even running NT 4.0 to showcase some piece of software. I've never actually done a video like that, which, I mean, you guys know, for all the like vintage software demos that I do, I'll use, Windows XP, Windows 2000. I've even used obviously 95 and 98. Don't think I've ever used NT 4.0, so this will be the first time in a while that we've taken a look at it on this channel. And yes, I did mention in my last video which was the Longhorn Upgrade Saga Part 2, there were some people suggesting me do a NT 4.0 development history video, and I definitely think that'd be cool to do, to give Windows NT 4.0 some, well-deserved attention on this channel. It's kind of one of the operating systems we haven't talked a whole lot about. So yeah, we can definitely do that. But for right now, we're just going to go through the upgrade process. So obviously 4.0. I'm going to press enter. It has found the mass storage device, which is obviously the CD-ROM. So we're going to accept the license agreement. In this one, we have to actually press page down. We can't just press F8. We have to press page down to go all the way to the bottom, and then press F8. They did change that, like for Windows XP, where you can just press F8. I agree without actually pressing page down. So once again, we get the exact same message. Setup has found Windows NT on your hard disk in the directory shown below. We're going to upgrade it by pressing enter. And we'll now examine our hard disks for corruption. Sure, we'll press enter. And yeah, check that out. It looks like, and again, I won't jinx myself, but it looks like right now that NT 4.0 is breezing through the setup process, which is pretty awesome. We're not going to create an emergency repair disk. We're going to choose the components actually, because we want to get everything. So we're going to get, and yes, I am interested in applying some of these sound schemes, mainly the Utopia one. Of course, obviously we don't have any set of speakers, so we're not going to be able to hear anything. So we'll get the games. Oh yeah, we get pinball in this too, the 3D arcade pinball game, which is just 3D Pinball Space Cadet. Which, by the way, I got a very interesting video about that if you want to go ahead and check it out up in the cards. Very interesting story behind 3D Pinball Space Cadet. The origins of it can actually be traced back to Doom. Yeah, id Software's Doom. Pretty interesting story if you guys want to check that out. Like I said, it'll be up in the cards. Pretty cool video. That one was a fun one to make. And there it goes. It is copying all the files it needs from the i386 folder. Alright, so NT has been successfully upgraded to version 4.0. It asks us to remove the disks from the floppy drives and the CD-ROM, which we already have done that with the floppy disk. Obviously, there was no floppy disk for this version. We just removed the CD-ROM, and we will restart the system. And yeah, by the way, this is the closest thing that these first few NT versions have to a boot screen. It's not anything like we're going to see in Windows 2000, this nice, graphical boot screen with animations. This is literally the closest thing you have to a boot screen in these releases. You got some dots going across there. That's about the only animation you have. But here we go, Windows NT Workstation version 4.0 with Microsoft Internet Explorer. We're going to press Control-Delete to log on. It's got our same user account. It didn't ask me for any user account info, so that's good. And we get a familiar welcome to Windows NT. If you used Windows 95, this will look familiar to you. Obviously, if you use 95, the whole system will look familiar to you. It's telling us that the currently selected display resolution is invalid. The default display resolution has been temporarily used. Okay. Can we set it to 800 by 600? Yes, we can. Okay, perfect. So we'll set it to 800 by 600. Let me auto adjust the monitor here. So we will factory reset all settings. Now the big question is, did the window color settings stay applied? So we'll open up my computer to find out. And it looks like it hasn't actually, because normally like in 95, if we set color preferences in a previous version of Windows, they should stay applied. It doesn't look like that's the case, although it did keep the program groups from NT 3.5.1. You see these here were actual program groups in NT 3.5. Games, obviously we got pinball here. We can load up 3D pinball. Obviously it's not going to look very good because we don't have the proper display driver installed, but here it is. Oh yeah, that's 3D Pinball Space Cadet. I'm not going to attempt to play that right now. So yeah, it just apparently looks like it did not keep any of the color settings. And let's go into control panel here, and well, we are going to make some more color modifications and go to appearance. And oh yeah, check that out. We got the plus tab as well. So we got, we can use large icons. We can set some of these preferences in here. So let's show window contents when dragging. Just to show you what this does, normally when you drag a window around, you see you just get this outline. We can do this and actually show the entire contents of the window, which you would definitely need a more powerful computer to do this, because it would slow down your system if you didn't have more powerful hardware. We're just going to turn all this stuff on, show icons using all possible colors, stretch desktop wallpaper to fit the screen. Okay, well the high color icons thing is not going to take effect because we don't have 256 colors. Can we change the icon? Why don't we change some of the icons just for fun? Again, just to see if this stuff stays applied. So we'll change the Explorer icon to this search icon. Network neighborhood we will change to the globe. And the recycle bin, let's just make the recycle bin the Windows flag when it's full. And let's make it the little shortcut. Actually, let's do this one here when it's empty. And we'll apply that. And there we go. So now our custom icons will take effect on the desktop. So let's make the active title bar, let's go with yellow this time. We'll make the text, the active title bar text black. And I'm not going to make it Comic Sans. We don't even get that option in here, but we are going to increase the size maybe to 12. And then the inactive window, we'll make the color, let's do white actually. And we'll keep the, actually we're going to change the font to black. And yeah, size 12. Background, let's just make it, and that's probably going to be too eye straining. How about like gray? There we go. And selected, let's make it green once again. And yeah, so it did not actually keep, like I said, any of our color settings from the previous version, but hopefully it will, you know, keep these preferences when we upgrade to Windows 2000. We can go into the C drive here, and yes, on the root of the C drive here we have our WinNT351 BMP file that we made in Windows NT 3.51, and we're going to open up our upgrade log file, and we're going to, okay, so what I'm going to do is actually put a time code here, so we'll just do 2:44 p.m. It's not the correct time, it's not almost 3 o'clock p.m. when I'm making this video right now, but we're just going to roll with it, and we're going to just write out installed Windows NT 4. And we will save that. We can go into the WinNT folder, view all of our files here, see if there's anything left behind. I mean, there's not really going to be, like I said, there's no games that the earlier versions of NT had that we don't have in here. So like we don't have anything like Reversi, unfortunately. There's the welcome program. Let's actually make a copy of this. Let's move it to the root of the C drive, and we'll just call this we'll just rename it to NT4 welcome, just to kind of see if maybe, because this file will get overridden, but let's see if we can just kind of have the old version stored on the like root of the C drive to try to, you know, run it again. Oh, let's actually check out the clock and see. Okay, so it's not going to open up in the exact same spot that it did before, which is kind of unfortunate. And you can see now it defaults to the digital format as opposed to the analog. And check that out, just like in my Power Toys video for Windows 95, where this borderless clock was a feature that is integrated with NT 4.0 by default. So there you go. Yeah, if you guys want to check out Power Toys for Windows 95, you can get this cool looking clock on Windows 95. Check that out up in the cards. We still have the Program Manager. Of course, this is the updated version, though, because we can go to Help and About, and you can see it's version 4.0 now as opposed to the older version. And yeah, so this is not exactly the same thing. It got like a bit of a redesign, as you can see, but it still works. But yeah, guys, I think that's actually all I want to do for NT 4.0. Let's go ahead and move on to Windows 2000. Which is NT version 5.0 if you want to be technical there, although the official, you know, release name is Windows 2000. So this should have, yeah, so it's got a auto run feature right here, so it's just going to come up and say, this CD-ROM contains a newer version of Windows than the one you're presently using. Would you like to upgrade? Yes, I'd like to upgrade. And it should just start the setup process right from here. So we're going to upgrade to Windows 2000. We're going to accept the license agreement. And this is actually the first version so far to ask us for a product key, so I'm going to go ahead and put that in. And here we go. His setup is copying files once again with our awesome custom little progress bar there. Obviously we just changed the color to green, not a huge deal, but yeah, so it's going to go ahead and restart the system. We'll just speed it up by pressing finish, and we shouldn't have to boot from the CD because yep, there we go, Windows 2000 Professional Setup. We're going to well, it's just going to time out there for us. And yes, this is the last version of Windows that was solely targeted at businesses, because, you know, after this we're going to move on to Windows XP, which had both a consumer and professional version, obviously Home Edition and Professional Edition. All of these versions were from a time where there were two separate Windows releases. So in this case for Windows 2000, Windows 2000 was the professional version of Windows, and Windows Me was the personal version at this time, and you obviously had the same thing with all the older versions that we took a look at as well. So setup is copying files right here. Once again, very familiar setup process. This will not change until Vista, because Windows XP will have this exact same NT style setup, but Vista does change it to a more graphical setup process in the very beginning. So we're just going to go ahead and let it copy the files, and yeah, I'll be back once something interesting happens. Alright, welcome back, guys. So we've got Windows 2000 installed. We're here at the login screen. We're going to press enter to log in, and hopefully, oh, check that out. It looks like it's going to keep our custom theme, which is pretty awesome. We got that gray background that we set in, I was almost going to say the last build, because I'm so used to saying that for the Windows Longhorn saga that we just did. But yeah, the theme that we set in Windows NT 4.0 did actually stay, and check that out, the icons did too. Remember, we changed all the icons over, or not all of them, but my computer, my network places, and the recycle bin all retained our custom icons. The highlight color is still green, and we get that wonderful getting started window. We're going to go ahead and close out of that for now, and let's go ahead and browse around the system a little bit. Well, let's go into programs. It actually looks like we lost the program groups. Remember, there were those extra program groups down here at the bottom. We still have an applications folder, which looks like this is where all of the older applications are. So we got Microsoft QBasic, and this actually still launches. It is an MS-DOS program, as you can see. So we will just press escape, and we'll just press Alt-FX to close it. So yeah, that's an MS-DOS program. We can still launch that. But yeah, we don't have any of those other program groups. Under accessories, though, we've got yeah, looks like we got everything. Actually, there is no games folder. Oh, did it remove the... Oh, no, the games are in here. Okay, I'm just used to the games folder being out here. But yeah, accessories, games are still here. And yeah, those are... I mean, none of these have... I mean, they probably got updated, like the actual version. Of course, this is going to pull the regular Windows 2000 WinVer dialog anyway. You can see our name and company that we set all the way back in Windows NT 3.5 is still here, so that's pretty awesome. Which that also means that in NT 4.0, even though it didn't keep the custom colors that we set in 3.5, it still kept our name and our company and all of the user information along with the user accounts. I mean, none of these setup wizards have asked me to create a user account aside from when I first created it back in Windows NT 3.5. Let's actually go into my computer here and check out what we got on the hard disk. So local disk C. Now Windows 2000 does still use the WinNT folder, as you can see over here. Now Windows XP, I believe, will change this to the Windows folder. I would think that it would, and I'm trying to find. Let's actually view. Let's go ahead and do it by details, and let's see. Okay, modified. Okay, so we do have some files that we got this screensaver here, last modified 1994. So this just looks to be a screensaver, which should still work normally. It might just be that we are running this in a very low color mode. It might, oh, it's just a black screensaver. Okay, well that would explain why there's nothing. But yeah, all these cursors are, they actually predate Windows 2000 here, because obviously Windows 2000 did not exist in 1995. So yeah, a lot of cursors. I'm trying to see if there's anything else. Stopwatch. Oh, that's an animated cursor. The clock program, actually, so I guess Windows 2000 didn't come with the clock program. And yeah, check that out. It opens up in the exact same spot that we had it in the previous version. So that's pretty awesome. And yes, it is the, once again, the borderless clock. So that is still here. And it appears that this, because 1996, like I said, 2000 didn't exist in 1996. This was an NT4 file. So yeah, and yeah, right here you can see we jumped from March 1997 to November 1999. So these are all going to be the Windows 2000 files from here on out. You guys may be able to hear my CD drive in the background. I am currently burning the XP CD. So yeah, read this.txt. This is, oh yeah, this is actually the from that patch. You can see it was modified back in 2004. So it's newer. It's the newest file on the system. According to the date, but oh yeah, this was just that, like, read this file from that patch that I had to install for NT 3.5 to work. So that's why it's actually newer than like every other file on the system. So let's go back here. Let's go to the local disk, and you see we got. Let's actually try the NT4 welcome first. Check that out. It still works. So yeah, welcome to Windows NT. I wonder if, can we click on like what's new? Okay, so yeah, see, it's not going to be able to find these files. 31users.hlp. Can we click on help contents? Okay, that'll open up the help contents for Windows 2000. And yeah, this just appears to be for what the help button does. As you can see here, it doesn't exactly pertain to this. Next tip. Okay, so all the tips are still here. Did you know you can click your right mouse button anywhere and see a menu of available commands? Ooh, I didn't know that. Did you know to print a document quickly, drag its icon to the printer icon? If you see a question mark button in the title bar of a window, you can get help on each item in the window by clicking it. That's what this help contents was for, because it talks specifically about the help button. So, and there's IMG burn if you guys don't know what that is. Yep, that's from image burn. I actually had the coming out of my speakers as opposed to my headset. So okay, we're gonna go ahead and close out of this. Oh, I wonder if this will, if we check, so it's already checked, show this welcome screen next time you start Windows NT. I wonder if it will start up. Probably not, because, well, let's just, you know what, let's just try it. Let's go back into WinNT. Let's go to this welcome and uncheck that. And then let's just make sure if we go back into NT4, check, show this welcome screen next time you start Windows NT. Oh, it might actually correspond to the new welcome program, because you see how it was unchecked, or it was checked, we closed out of it, went to the Windows 2000 one, unchecked it, and this was unchecked. So it's probably going to just log out here. So let's just log off Michael, and I guarantee you that's exactly what it's going to do. It's just going to open up with the Windows 2001. Okay, so we're going to log in here once more, and yeah, see, so it just comes up with the regular Windows 2001. So this checkbox actually will like take effect, at least from what I can tell. It looks like the checkbox in the NT program will actually take effect, because once again, I'll just show you if we go in here. So notice how it's checked here. We'll close out of it. I'll go into the NT one, NT4, we'll uncheck it, click on close, and we'll go back into WinNT, show files, welcome, and it's unchecked there. So the program actually still works, it just only changes, obviously, the newer version of the program, obviously, because the system is pointing to the C WinNT welcome.exe, you know, for like what file to open up. But we've got our upgrade log, so we're going to go ahead and, yeah, you can see the time difference here. It actually, well, it's not that it took 2 hours to install Windows 2000, I just was doing some other things. Installed Windows 2000, and we'll save that. So there's our upgrade log, and we can open up our, this is the card file, which, yeah, card file is still here. Once again, gets an updated about screen. Not that Windows 2000 updated this program, it just pulls the new about screen for it. And yeah, it's still there, and we have our BMP file as well. This is it. I know, is this it? Oh yeah, paintbrush picture, but it looks like it's it almost looks like it's a text document. I don't know, I guess that's just the icon for Microsoft Paint. But we can open it up, and oh no, could not find the file. See, oh, that's interesting. Apparently now it can't find the file. The file's right here. What are they talking about? Cannot find the file. See WinNT 351.bmp, which is exactly what that is. So, and is it a BMP file? Oh, I wonder if it didn't save the extension. No, it's a BMP file, so I don't really know why. I mean, you can see the preview of it here. So we should be able to open up MS Paint and just, yeah, so it opens up. I mean, we can save it. Well, yeah, that's about the only really strange thing that I've encountered so far. Let's make another, let's make a folder on the desktop. Do new folder. Let's make new folder 2, and from the people who brought you new folder and new folder 2, new folder 3. Yeah, dude, check that out. Let's go ahead and make a wave sound. Hello world. I mean, we're just, oh, I guess I didn't, I guess I got rid of the extension. Yes, so we're just going to have these files. Let's just kind of move all these icons and just kind of scatter them all over the desktop randomly, and just see if, you know, when we upgrade to XP, if it will keep this very interesting layout. So I think it's time for Windows XP. What do you think? I think it's time to upgrade. I mean, we've pretty much taken a look at everything. You know, some of the old programs, I mean, like I said, there's not like there's any old games or like Reversi for us to launch. We do have Windows messaging. This is for NT 4.0. So there you go, this is an NT4 program. Now Windows XP, every single time that I've done it, because it automatically applies the Luna theme, when you log in, it automatically gets rid of your custom color preferences. But in the original video, which was again back for my 5,000 subscriber special back in 2016, you could see in the video right before it like logged in to your account, for a split second it showed the custom color scheme, but it would then swap over to the Luna theme, and then it would get rid of your custom color settings, and you could go into control panel and go into display properties and change it back to the Windows Classic theme, but it wouldn't retain all of your custom preferences. But so yeah, I'm not expecting XP to keep the custom color scheme, but it would be cool if it keeps the custom icons that we applied and the layout of the icons on the desktop. So we're going to install Windows XP. It came up with this auto run menu as Windows XP does. And yeah, we're going to just go through, we're going to select upgrade once again, and then this is XP Pro, so it will allow us to upgrade. So we're going to accept the license agreements, and we're going to put in the product key. And we're not going to bother with getting updated setup files because it can't. And there we go, it is starting the upgrade process right now. So I'm going to let XP update, and we'll see what it does once it restarts. Alright, so we're back, and Windows XP has successfully installed, and we're here about to launch into the out-of-box experience. So we're going to click on OK. It's going to adjust the display resolution for us, and we'll click OK to keep it. And like I said, there are no speakers on this computer, so we're not going to get any sound, unfortunately, but we're going to go ahead and go through the out-of-box experience here. So since we did an upgrade, once again, it's not going to ask us for our name and all that stuff, how it normally will ask you for what you want your account name to be, and if you want to add any additional user accounts. We don't got to do any of that. Now, we'll see if it does what I'm talking about, where for like a splits. Oh, I guess it's going to be on the welcome screen. That's interesting. So we're not going to get to see. Oh yeah, date and time is invalid because it's 1997. XP didn't exist in 1997, so we have to update the system clock. But yeah, in the original video back in 2016 when I did this, XP by default had, because it was XP Professional, and this is XP Professional, but it's got the like welcome screen on. But in the original video that I did, it had the classic login prompt, and that's when, as we were, and I'll probably put like a little clip of it on here, but as we were logging in, it for a split second showed the old theme before it changed over to the new. Oh, check that out, it's got so it didn't keep the icons that we set for my computer and recycle bin and all that, but it did keep the icon layout, how we had them all scattered around the desktop. So that's pretty awesome. So part of the modifications that we did in Windows 2000 actually stayed. Also, interestingly enough, the taskbar is a little bit larger by default, and it says the day down here. Not only the time, but it's got the day, and yeah, it thinks it's 1997. Is it? It almost looks like the taskbar is. Oh, that's because we have the. Yeah, we have the. So maybe it did keep, because this is because like the text size is larger. That's the only reason why the taskbar would be larger, is we increase the text size. But you see, there's that little blue line underneath the start button, so the taskbar is actually larger. Now in XP here, the Windows, as I'm going to open up my computer here, you'll see that, yeah, it's got the Luna theme. Also, the font is like the regular size. But interestingly enough, yeah, the taskbar does appear to be slightly larger than it normally is. So we can go into C here, and oh, it actually did keep the WinNT folder. That's interesting. So XP can still run with a WinNT folder as opposed to Windows. I think Vista will change it though. Now the welcome program looks to have actually been removed, so it did actually remove some stuff, because yeah, the welcome program, I mean, I don't think it was stored in System32. I'm pretty sure it was just stored in the WinNT folder. Yeah, so there's no welcome executable in here. We do still have WinFile though, the old file manager. We can go to help and about. Obviously it's going to have the Windows XP about box, but we do have our user information, our name and our company name, that we set back in NT 3.5. So yeah, this is the file manager running here under Windows XP. It still works. And as for the files, we copied over to the root of the C drive. We have our update log. Let's go ahead and update this really quickly. And yeah, you can see some time has passed. So we'll go ahead and 6:06 p.m. installed Windows XP. So we will save that and close out of that. Our BMP file now has an actual like Paint icon, and we can open it up. It doesn't open in Paint anymore. It actually, by default, opens in the Windows Picture and Facts Viewer. We can still open it with Paint, though. We can run, obviously, MS Paint, and check that out. In Windows 2000, the last program we opened up from the run box was MS Paint, and it still auto-populates in here for us. So yeah, that is pretty cool, but we can, of course, open the BMP file with MS Paint. We got the NT4 welcome, which appears to still work. Check that out. Now I wonder if we click on show this welcome screen next time you start Windows NT. Let's close out of that and let's try to log out of our session and log back in here. So we'll log off. So I just logged back in, and no, the Windows NT welcome window did not come up. So it actually, even by checking that, does not actually make it come up when we log back in, obviously, because Windows XP did not have a welcome window like that. So what we have to actually do before we upgrade to Windows Vista is upgrade to XP Service Pack 2, which I'm currently in the process of burning that to a CD right now. What we could also do is make some modifications to things like the taskbar. Maybe we'll make it a little bit larger by default, so we'll lock that, and then we'll see if Windows Vista keeps it that way, so we actually have the full time, day, and date down here. Once again, the date is not correct. We'll actually move it forward a little bit so that Windows Vista doesn't freak out. Let's do like March of 2008, and we'll hit apply. So there we go. And let's go into the control panel rather, and maybe increase the font size a little bit. So that's going to be under appearance and themes. And let's change the font size to large. We won't go that large. And we'll hit apply. Let's actually change the desktop wallpaper and see if, because Windows Vista obviously has a new set of default desktop wallpapers, but let's see if we set one from XP. And you see we actually have the one from Windows 2000 still in here, so it actually did keep a lot of the old desktop wallpapers, which is pretty awesome. So let's set it to the Windows 2000 desktop wallpaper. So there we go. These are the custom settings. We've got, again, large fonts, we've got the Windows 2000 desktop wallpaper, and the larger taskbar. So we'll see if, first I have to upgrade to XP Service Pack 2, which I'll do here shortly. So we'll see if Windows Vista will keep all these settings. Before we get that installed, though, we have to expand the partition, because this entire time we were running on a 2 gig partition, and when I actually tried to copy over the setup file for Windows XP Service Pack 2, it just kind of let me know, hey, there's not enough space on the hard drive. So yeah, because it was running once again on a 2 gig partition. So we just expanded it to the full about 75 gig partition, that is, or the full size of the hard disk, which is about 75 gigs. This is also, by the way, if you can't tell, Parted Magic, which is a Linux distro. I'm running this off of Hiron's Boot CD, which is a super useful tool that you guys have probably heard me mention many times on this channel before. So we're going to restart the system right now, and we're going to get XP Service Pack 2 installed for real this time. Alright everyone, well, I'm pleased to say that we have Windows XP Service Pack 2 installed. As you can see from WinVer here, I've just inserted the Windows Vista DVD, and it should come up with the auto run menu any moment here. And there we go. So we're just going to click on install now, and I believe this is a multi-SKU DVD, so it should have, it should allow us to select the edition we want to install, and we're obviously going to go with Vista Business. And yeah, so right here we're going to select Windows Vista Business, and we're going to click on next, and we should get the option once we accept the license terms. You must rename or remove C users before upgrade can continue. Interesting. So yeah, here's the users folder it was talking about right here, and inside of it there is a default folder that is empty. So this is obviously left over from one of the older Windows installations. So we will just actually rename this to users.old. And interestingly enough, now Windows XP normally stores your user folder inside of documents and settings. So C documents and settings is where it will store, like in this case, the Michael folder for all of my documents. But because we had been upgrading from all of these previous versions of Windows, not only did it keep the WinNT folder, but it's also storing what would normally be stored in documents and settings in C WinNT profiles. And then here's my users folder. With my documents and my music, and I can click on like my documents over here. I can go into my pictures, and just to show you, and yeah, we have this sample picture left over from, I believe, Windows 2000. XP doesn't come with that. And yeah, under properties, you can see we got C WinNT profiles, Michael, my documents. So yeah, that is, again, XP, when you do a clean install of XP, normally does not behave like that. So we've got the users folder renamed to users.old. So it has found some problems with installed applications and devices. These issues do not prevent your upgrade, but some applications or devices might not work once your upgrade completes. Let's see what it's talking about. So we've got some sound and video game controllers. You got like a MIDI, compatible MIDI device, some flat panel drivers, a couple TV encoders, MSN Explorer, and Windows Messenger 5.1. So these drivers were obviously installed by an earlier version of Windows NT, and MSN Explorer and Windows Messenger 5.1 will not work with Vista. So that's fine. We'll just click on Next. And there we go. We will just let it copy its files, do the upgrade, and hopefully the next time you guys see this screen, it will be with Windows Vista installed. Well, as you guys can probably tell, we're not booted into Windows Vista. Well, we are. We're booted into the setup, but not a complete install. It just gives us this error message that says the upgrade was canceled. Any changes that were made to your computer during the upgrade process will not be saved. Windows installation has encountered an error and cannot continue. Your computer will now restart, and your previous version of Windows will be restored. There's no reason as to why it failed, why it was canceled, which is great. So let's just click on continue, and I guess it's gonna just restart and boot us back into Windows XP. I don't know what exactly caused this, but yeah, I mean, there was no error code, and yeah, it looks like it's booting. The upgrade was not successful. Your previous version of Windows is being restored. Yeah, it's so weird. Like there's no error code. There's nothing as to why the upgrade failed. It just says the upgrade failed and your computer is going to be restored. Like, well, that's no help to me whatsoever. Okay, so we got basically the same error message here, just in Windows XP now. This version of Windows cannot be installed. Your previous version of Windows has been restored and you can continue to use it. We can try, I do have the CD version of Windows Vista. We can just try that. Alright everyone, welcome back. It has been quite a journey getting this thing to work off camera, and you can see that we still have not gotten it to successfully install. We have not been able to install Windows Vista, but before we move on and try something else, I want to briefly update you guys on what I've done off camera, the different methods that I've tried, and what I believe the issue is. So, if you recall in the last clip, we got this very vague error message, which basically just said the setup failed to install, it failed to continue with the upgrade process, but there was no reason why. It just basically said setup has been canceled, or setup could not continue, whatever that it said, and it was going to restart the system and boot us back into Windows XP and essentially restore our Windows XP installation. And that happened when I tried to install Vista from this DVD. So I thought, okay, something might be wrong with the DVD, maybe some files got corrupted. Okay, well, I also have a CD copy of Windows Vista. These are not the actual CDs, but I have a 5-disc copy of Windows Vista on CDs, so I tried to do that, which I did that on this computer in another video, actually installing Windows Vista on this thing, and it worked totally fine. Well, not in this case. I tried to update it to Windows Vista Business, gave the exact same error message, or the very, very vague error that we got with no error code. It did the exact same thing with the CD release. Then I went ahead and copied over a Windows Vista, like the contents from a CD image, to a USB drive, and I tried to install it from that, and guess what? It did the exact same thing. So I tried to install Vista or upgrade to Windows Vista from 3 different mediums, from again a DVD, CDs, and a USB drive, all resulted in the exact same thing. Then I tried to choose a different SKU. We had been trying this with the business version of Windows Vista. I tried to update to the Ultimate edition of Windows Vista, and that did not work either. And I actually was able to find a forum thread of somebody who had this same issue. They were trying to update, I think in their case it was from XP Home Edition to Vista Home Premium or Home Basic. They had the exact same problem, and there were some people in the forum thread that kind of tried to help out. One of them said, run the Windows Vista Upgrade Advisor. to see if there are any problems with, some devices or drivers on your system that might not be compatible with Vista. Now, if you recall, Vista, the setup did let us know that there were some incompatible drivers and some software, but it said they weren't, like, you could still upgrade to Vista, that it just wasn't going to work anymore. So I tried to run the upgrade advisor, and, well, it needs to be connected to the internet, and this computer is not able to get on the internet at the moment. I don't have the proper drivers installed. So I was going to install the drivers, but then I thought to myself, I'm pretty sure this is not going to work anyways because Vista's out of support. I don't think Microsoft would be hosting the content for the upgrade advisor for Windows Vista anymore. Now, I thought that this could have something to do with the fact that if we go into my computer here, the file structure on this copy of Windows XP is a little bit different, and I kind of briefly mentioned this before. We are still using the WinNT folder to store all of the operating system files, and the user information is not stored in Documents and Settings, it's stored in the Profiles folder inside of the WinNT folder. And Windows XP, when you do a clean install of XP, it does not behave this way. It actually stores these files in a different location. And I thought this maybe could have something to do with it, but I mean, then I was thinking, I was like, well, surely Microsoft would know that there was probably business customers out there who upgraded from Windows 2000 to Windows XP Pro and then wanted to upgrade to Windows Vista Business, and by upgrading from Windows 2000 to XP they would still have the WinNT folder. I believe this Profiles folder is from like an earlier Windows NT install, because Windows 2000, user accounts were not called profiles, they were user accounts. So I don't believe Windows 2000 stored the user information inside of the profiles folder in the WinNT folder. But so anyway, what I'm saying is I'm sure that Microsoft would have accounted for this. So we have one other thing that we're going to try. Actually, well, one new method to try, but I'm also going to try to manually go into Device Manager. So let's launch that here, because what I want to do is remove the device that it was complaining about during the setup, which was, I believe it was a MIDI controller. So we can go, so yeah, this compatible MIDI device right here, we're going to go ahead and just uninstall this from the system entirely, because first of all, we don't need a MIDI controller on this system. So hopefully this will allow us to maybe get past that error message, but again, because the error message did not give a specific reason, there's no telling what exactly is causing the problem. So what we're also going to do is, instead of running the setup from a DVD or a USB drive, what I have is essentially the manual upgrade for Windows Vista, and this is the exact same copy I used in my original video back in 2016, the 5K special massive Windows upgrade. So these files, as they are right now, are not bootable. You can't put these 3 files onto a DVD or a USB drive and boot off of it like you could with the image I had on this USB drive before. So this is essentially the manual upgrade to Windows Vista. Before we do that though, I am going to copy these 3 files over to the hard drive to make things go a little bit smoother and a little bit quicker, because running this setup off of this USB stick is not the most ideal thing. It does, and I saw this when I was trying to upgrade to Vista from the ISO image that I had copied to this USB drive. It was extremely slow. It was actually slower than the CD and DVD copies, because this, again, this is not high-speed USB 2.0. This is 1.0 or 1.1. So I'm going to go ahead and wait the almost hour to for this to copy all these files over to the desktop, and hopefully when I come back we'll be able to launch this executable file. We'll be able to breeze through the setup process with no issues, and then we can hopefully move on to Windows 7. And hopefully, if we even get to that point, hopefully Windows 7 will be less of a pain. But for whatever reason, man, Vista's not wanting to cooperate today, which is definitely kind of frustrating. I've not encountered this error message before in any of these other tech experiment videos that I've done. So this is a first for me. It might be a first for you guys, but if this doesn't work, then yeah, I really don't know how we're going to move on from here, so hopefully this will work. Alright everyone, well, it has been about an hour since I recorded the last clip, and we now have these 3 files copied over to the desktop, and we're going to go ahead and run the exe file right here, and this will begin the Windows Vista setup. Now, you're going to notice right away once we do this that the beginning of the setup is going to look a lot different, because it actually has to extract all the files to this Vista folder right here. I'm going to also, if it comes up with another like compatibility report where it says, okay, these devices are not going to be compatible with Windows Vista. I'm going to try to exit the setup, remove those devices from the system in Device Manager, and then try to launch setup again. And we'll see if, I mean, yeah, like I said, I'm just trying this here because this is the only, I mean, it's going to, once it extracts, which it just has, it's going to come up with a very similar setup process. It's going to be exactly the same as what we saw before. It's just now running off of the hard drive as opposed to the CD or DVD or the USB drive that we were using before. I believe this is also a multi-SKU image, so it should allow us to select what edition we want to install. And yeah, so it is a multi-SKU release. Perfect. So we're going to select Windows Vista Business. We're going to click on Next, and it should prompt us. Actually, it'll do the, once we accept the license agreement here, and I think, yeah, so we select Upgrade, and now it's going to check compatibility. Okay, so we're going to click here for more information. So this time we only have MSN Explorer and Windows Messenger 5.1. So we don't have any drivers or devices that it's saying are not compatible. So just by removing that one MIDI device, did the trick for us. So we're going to click on Next once again. And it should be a little bit quicker with copying the Windows files here, since they're just basically being moved from one part of the hard drive to another. So all we can do now is just hope that this works. So I said it before and I'm going to say it again. Hopefully by the next time you guys see this screen, we will be upgraded to a fully working copy of Windows Vista. Well guys, unfortunately you can see that we are in the exact same boat. The upgrade was once again canceled. We got that same very vague error message. Windows installation encountered an error and cannot continue. Your computer will now restart and your previous version of Windows will be restored. So we'll click on OK to allow it to restore the system back to Windows XP. And yeah guys, honestly, I am probably just going to end the video off here because I have tried multiple different methods of trying to get this upgrade to work, and everything that I've tried has not been successful. And I want to hear from you guys. If you guys have encountered this error before, maybe back when Windows Vista first came out, or if you have any other suggestions of things that we could try here to get Windows Vista up and running, because I would like to do the upgrade, obviously. We could attempt some other things, but all of them will not be an upgrade to Windows Vista. We could do a clean install of Windows Vista, which we know works, but I think that would pretty much defeat the purpose of this whole experiment because we would start with a clean slate. We could go to Windows 7. We could again do a clean install of Windows 7. You cannot upgrade from XP straight to Windows 7. You have to go through Vista. There is a tool that Microsoft offers called Windows Easy Transfer, but that is for transferring files from a Windows XP computer to a separate Windows 7 computer. It's not for an upgrade because again, you cannot upgrade straight from XP to 7. So yeah guys, I think that is going to wrap it up for today's video. Unfortunately, we couldn't get to Windows Vista, but I think it's pretty awesome that we were able to come as far as we did. I mean, we started with Windows NT 3.5, we upgraded to 3.51, to NT 4, to 2000, and then to XP. So that's 5 different versions of Windows that we upgraded through in this video. And like I said guys, if you have any suggestions as to how we could get this working, be sure to let me know. I would definitely love to hear what some of you guys have to say. And if we can't get Windows Vista properly upgraded on the system, be sure to let me know how you guys would like me to proceed with this. I'm pretty much going to keep this system in this state for now. One thing we could try to do is maybe upgrade to a Windows Longhorn build. And in fact, in my last video, which was part 2 of the Windows Longhorn upgrade saga on that laptop, there was a build that we took a look at that actually specifically said that we could upgrade to it from Windows XP Service Pack 2, which is exactly what we're running right here. So that could definitely be a option that we could try, but again, be sure to let me know. But guys, if you enjoyed this video and if you want to see more like it, definitely be sure to give it a thumbs up. Be sure to get subscribed down below. Turn on those channel notifications if you haven't already to get notified whenever I upload a new video, which I do every single week, multiple times per week on this channel. And as always guys, I want to thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.